And welcome back to Boom and Bust. It's our first panel of the new year. The Honorable Joe Oliver, the Honorable Senator Sandra Pupatello, and the Honorable Gary Marr are with us. Sandra, we'll start with you for this segment. And I know you want to talk about what you see as some of the challenges for Canada in the upcoming year. But one of the things that Joe Oliver said reminded me that even Prime Minister Mark Carney has said we've got some difficult decisions to make as a country, kind of almost setting us up for some difficult times. So maybe that's part of the context here. I'd love to get your analysis of the
Yeah.
situation.
I think the sort of global events or more specifically US events is making the view that Canadians have typically had about resource extraction, defense, military spending, where we might have been much kinder to say, oh, we don't need all of that. I think the majority of Canadians have come around to realize that we need to use our own resources for wealth and we need to get at it. So I feel like if I were doing polling today, you would see almost a reversal of where we might have been even 2 years ago. And likewise on military spending, I think all of a sudden we're sitting back to say, you know what, we need that. We may well be needing to take care of ourselves. There's just general discussion. I don't know what you found over the holidays interacting with friends and family, but every sentence virtually started with, can you believe? And then the description of what the latest salvo is in the US and what they're contending with. We're so close to them that we can't help but be affected by it. So, two things in particular, it's going to be CUSMA and the CUSMA negotiation. Our economy, I think, was saved this year because we've tucked in most of our trade still under CUSMA, and they've sort of allowed that agreement to stand. It really will be bellwether. What happens in the summer when they are going to start that negotiation? What's the tone going to be? So we're sort of been able to keep our belt tightened to the point that it's at, but I think there's more belt tightening to come. On the second front, related to the global position that Canada has, the affiliation we have with the balance of NATO, for example, I think there will be some very tough conversations going on that none of us would have predicted. It may have to happen without the Americans at the table because now everyone is fearing what the next step of America is going to be. And I think we have to be very clear-eyed about that. There may be discussions that we're going to have that we never thought, that we need to figure out who are our real friends here, who may well come to our defense, and what are we going to do to put up a very good defense. That the tone of CUSMA, I think, is going to speak a lot to the rest of that conversation. Do they see us in any way as an ally? And how is that going to come to play in the CUSMA discussion and in military and defense activity?
Very interesting analysis. Thank you for that. Gary Marr, is it all about trade and tariffs and defense, or what do you see coming up in the future?
It's going to be a very challenging 2026. I agree that the review of CUSMA is going to be an important one for Canada, based on the testimony of the USTR, the U.S. Trade Representative, before Congress. I don't know what's going to happen. Anything could happen. But what it does speak to is this: both with what happened in Venezuela and with upcoming CUSMA review. I think that it bespeaks of the risk that is associated to Canada as a trading nation to be overly reliant upon a single marketplace, whether it's for our oil or whether it's for our finished goods, whether it's for our steel, our aluminum, or anything else, our agricultural products. I think that that speaks to the need of increasing our trade infrastructure to get things to marketplaces other than the United States. I think that the Carney government is trying to do that. It is devilishly difficult. It takes years sometimes to develop these kind of relationships. But for example, the circumstances in Venezuela, does it affect Canadian oil? Maybe not that much in the short run. There's a lot of factors that have to actually come into play before Venezuela becomes a serious competitor for
Right.
Canadian oil. We send about 4.5 million barrels of oil a day to the United States. Venezuela's total production which used to be in the range of 3.5 million barrels a day, is now to 1 million barrels a day. And that means that the infrastructure that is in their fields and in their transportation system is decrepit. So
right.
have we got some time to be able to find other marketplaces for our oil in the event that Venezuelan oil ends up in the Gulf Coast of the United States? The answer is
Sure.
yes. I think we do have some time.